is just absolutely amazing. And I just love meeting with authors because you guys are the best. Because you're writing stories and it's things that we need to hear, things we need to know about. And like I said, representation matters. So the more Black authors, the better. I love it. I'm excited to take a deep dive into and why you started writing and what made you start writing and just all of that good stuff. So before I get carried away, hey, you guys, pronounce your first name for me because I don't want to mess that up.
Erica.
Oh, wait, you're in my ear now. There we go. Okay, do it one more time. Terica. Okay, you guys, this is author Terica Turner, and we are going to be hanging out with her today, and she is going to be telling us all about how it is to be an author, all about her amazing book, and all that good stuff. So before we get started, just tell them what you do, as far as I'm not exactly sure how many books you've wrote. So you just give them a brief, say if you were on Shark Tank and you had a 2-minute spill to get money out of them, what would you say?
Okay. Well, I'm an author. I've written one book. It's called Tackling the Taboo. Here it is. And it's about mental health issues and how Christians can cope with things like anxiety, depression, suicidal thinking, and other mental health issues. And it delves into the scriptures to talk about people who likely dealt with those things, even suicide. And I draw upon my own experiences too with mental health issues to give people hope and let them know that they can overcome their issues as well.
Okay, sounds good. Now we're going to get into it. I'm excited. I love the cover, by the way. When it came in and I seen the cover, I was like, I really like that. It stands out. So if I was in Barnes and Noble and it was on the shelf, that book would have caught my attention. And I know that that's one thing authors try to do is there's 1,000,001 books out here. So authors are always trying to figure out if, it's like the bread aisle. Which bread do I want? So the same thing with authors. When we go into Barnes and Nobles, we're like, okay, what book do I want to get? And your cover would have stood out to me.
Oh,
so kudos on that before we get, too deep in, because I might not remember later, but I like the cover. You did good, girl. I love it. So, all right. Whew, I got my little notes down here. Let me see. So what made you want to write a book? Let's start there.
Well, first I was dealing with mental health issues, and I didn't really have resources and the knowledge or tools to help me when I first began dealing with those issues. So I didn't want people, after I got to a point where I was doing okay and doing better, I didn't want other people to have to go through what I went through without having the knowledge, tools, and resources in order to deal with their mental health issues. So I wanted to write in order to help people. But first, it really came as a way, as a form of therapy for me. So writing was a form of therapy. And so I started writing a blog, and I was writing so much, a friend of mine finally said, why don't you write a book? And so I was like, yeah, that's a good idea, And so I sat down, wrote out the outline, and just started from there. And that's how I started writing, and that's what got me to want to write a book to help others. Really.
Right. Well, that is awesome, and that a lot of authors say that something has happened in their life that prompted them to write a book. And I'm glad your friend told you to write a book.
Me too.
I'm glad that you stepped out there. And so now, when did you write your book?
Well, I think I started writing it in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished in 2019. It took me about 2-3 months to write the book. After I just sat down and just really started writing and focusing on what I wanted to write, I finally kicked it out in 3 months. But
wow,
yeah,
that is awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
3
Yeah, it took a
months.
long
3
time with
months
publishing,
is
though, from writing to publishing it. It took a while. So,
Oh, okay. So it took you 3 months to write it, but then it took you a little more time to publish it.
yes, about 3 years.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Now, did you self-publish or did you go through a
I went
publishing company?
through a publishing company. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Now, um, what since you've wrote your book, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of trying to write a book. How did your process work for you? Was it an easy process, a hard process? From going from from writing to publishing, and now it's out there being sold. Somebody said, "Love you, Auntie. You look beautiful."
Oh, thank you.
So you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of publishing a book. So give us some feedback on the good, the bad, and the ugly of publishing a book.
Yeah,
Since you published
it
your
was a
first book.
grueling road. I told you it took me 3 months to write, but from that time I had to find a proofreader,
Mm-hmm.
I had to find an editor, and I also had to find a publisher. So
Right.
it wasn't easy at all going through that process, that painstaking process of editing the book, because it's kind of like your baby. You wrote it, you spent so much time on it, and you have somebody telling you, "Hey, change this. This isn't working. Maybe you should fix this." So that part was a little difficult.
Yeah, I think that would be a little difficult for me too.
Yeah. And finding a publisher, I went to several publishers trying to find somebody to publish my book, and I got a lot of rejections.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I was going to self-publish until a friend of mine connected me with a publisher that she knew of personally, and so I worked with that publisher, and we finally got my book published. But it was a long road. It took a while to actually get it published. So
now with seeing all of that you went through, when you go to write your second book, are you going to self-publish or are you going to go the publisher route again?
I probably will go the self-publishing route just because I want to have control over everything regarding my book,
Yes.
And I see now that I don't have complete control over everything. You still have to go through the publisher and they have to approve certain things. And you don't get to see everything, like all the sales until like the end of the year. And me, I want to check my sales like every day.
Exactly. I want to know what's going on. How many books have been sold?
Exactly. But you can't bother the publisher with that like every day. So that I would like complete control. So I will probably self-publish if I write.
So you've learned a little bit along the way.
Yes.
You had an experience and you've learned a little bit, and now you know what you don't want to do. Right. So that is awesome. I love it. I'm glad that you had the experience. So now you know what you want to do from, moving forward. It's that control thing.
Yes.
When it's our baby, it's ours. We don't want somebody else telling us what to do.
Exactly.
Look, Black women don't do well when you're trying to tell us about our baby.
Right.
Now, where are all the places that your book is located? So if somebody wanted to purchase your book, where is it?
Well, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
It's on my publisher's website, CalcumandPublications.com. It's also available on Walmart.com, BarnesandNobles.com.
I love it.
BooksAMillion.com. And
okay.
Yeah. So
She's got that book out there, y'all. Y'all better go get it. Yes. I'm typing her information in the box right now. So if you see me looking down, I'm not ignoring you.
Okay.
I'm on my phone. I'm in this live, but from my phone in case, there's comments or anything like that, I can see it. I just so happened to see the babies when they popped up in there, congratulating you, but it's easier for me to see from my phone. So I did not want you to think that I was ignoring you in any way, shape, or
I
form.
understand.
I'm just trying to make sure everybody is, it's a bestseller. That's what I'm talking about. Come in here and talk her up.
I
I
know,
love
right?
it.
Let's speak that into existence.
Exactly. Number one bestseller.
Right.
I love it. Okay, so now that you've wrote your book, okay, wait a minute. There's a let me see. Hold on, we got a question for you actually. Any advice to people who want to write as therapy but don't know how to get started? Awesome question. I like that. So that
Yeah.
question is for you.
Yeah, I would say if anybody wants to start writing for therapy, but you don't know how to get started, I would say just start writing anything. Write about anything that you can think of. Go outside and look at the birds and write about the birds. Write about how you're feeling, write about your day, write about anything. And it doesn't have to be like a long paragraph or essay. You can just write a few sentences. You can write a paragraph, or you can write a page, or you can write more. Just write, and keep doing it daily until you get into the habit of doing it. And then before you know it, you'll be writing a book.
I love it. I love it. That was great advice. I love it. So now, what was your favorite part about writing your book?
Well, my favorite part about writing my book was probably delving into the scriptures and learning more about people who dealt with things like depression, anxiety, and suicide in the scriptures, because I hadn't heard about that before. And I grew up in a faith-based religion, so I I didn't hear about anything in terms of mental health growing up from the Bible or from the church. So me studying that in order to write about it just opened up some new doors and opened up new understanding for me. And I love learning about, people like Martha who dealt with anxiety, Elijah who dealt with depression, and so many people who dealt with suicide in the Bible and suicidal thinking. So that just helped me in my journey to see, okay, this isn't something new. It's been happening. It happened in the Bible times, and it's happening now to me. So I'm not alone in this. So that was one of the favorite parts about writing, delving into the scriptures and sharing those scriptures with others about who dealt with mental health issues in the Bible.
Now, what was your least favorite part about writing the book?
Well, I'll say the least favorite part was probably sharing my own experiences with mental health issues, because I mean, it wasn't easy to talk about, hey, I've dealt with anxiety, I've dealt with depression, schizophrenia, trauma, suicidal ideation. That's not easy to share with the world.
Right.
But I wanted to talk about it because there's a stigma still surrounding mental health. As much as we have started talking about it more, I know you have Mental Health Mondays, which is great. I love that.
And that means you're going to come to a Mental Health Monday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our next live, a Mental Health Monday.
Okay. Yes, so we're talking about it more in society, but there's still stigma surrounding it. And so I wanted to be able to talk about my issues and my experience to help remove that stigma and break the stigma, to show people, hey, it's okay to have depression. It's okay to have anxiety, and you can deal with it. You can seek treatment without it being shameful or embarrassing. And I just wanted to share my story in order to do that. But that was the hardest part to write about, because it put me in a vulnerable position in order to do that. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be, being totally transparent is kind of hard, because when it comes, when you say what you need to say, you don't know how people are going to react.
Right.
We know how we would want them to react, but people don't always, everybody reacts a different way. Some people still don't want to rip that Band-Aid off. Some people still want to leave things swept under the rug in our community. A lot of people still don't want to talk about it, especially a lot of elders. They're willing to take stuff to their grave. And I've learned that within my own family. And my ex-husband is now learning that with his family because he doesn't know who his father is. And he's 56, 57, something like that. But when he brings it up to the family, all they gave him was a name and that's it. They don't give him, they change the subject. They don't want to talk about it, you know? And I'm like, come on, you guys. We got to change that. You know, we've got to start speaking up because his mom's passed away. Mm-hmm. So he can't ask her, you know, she passed away in 93. And I'm like, we got to change it. That's why I started the Mental Health Mondays because I want us to talk about it, you know. And I'm only one platform, but I'm hoping that other platforms, you know, start doing it as well and make it part of their platform, you know, especially the ones that are in our community,
right?
Because it's needed. Now, when you wrote your book, how did you feel after you wrote it? Not when it got published, but after you sat down in 2019, after those 3 months of writing and you finally put that pen down, I'm done. How did you feel?
I felt accomplished. I can say that. I felt accomplished. Yeah. I had set my mind toward a goal and I had accomplished it. So it felt good. It really did. And I'll say that I didn't write at the end of the 3 months, I didn't write the parts about my own struggles with mental health issues. I only included those in after, you know, talking to an editor and
right.
You know, going through a proofreader and all that. I included those later. So the hard part I didn't write until later, but I still felt accomplished knowing that I had completed that goal, you know, that I had set for myself.
So the editors and the publisher had you go back and add those parts?
Well, they didn't.
Or you did that on your own?
They just suggested. Because I had maybe 1 or 2 examples of my own struggles in there, but it wasn't like anything extreme. But I included the extreme stuff, like me, you know, having so much paranoia about being in my own home. I had paranoia that somebody was breaking into my home. So because of that, I couldn't sleep in my house. You know, I barricaded the doors. Mm-hmm. I put a lock on the doors. I put a camera in the house, and I still felt like somebody was breaking in and was trying to come in and hurt me.
Right.
And so it got to a point where I would just go and sleep in my car. Here I was paying $900 a month for an apartment, but I was so paranoid about somebody breaking in trying to hurt me, and so uncomfortable that I felt like my car was a safe place. Mm-hmm. So those kind of things, you know, I didn't talk about at first, but I felt like after talking to, you know, my editor and a couple of friends and they said, hey, why don't you include more stories like the ones you already have in there? And so that's when I started to talk about, you know, the more serious stuff that I dealt with in the book. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. And then it's a way to get it out and get it off your chest. And it's going to help other people because I know at some point or another, you were probably thinking you're the only person feeling like this. You're the only person going through this because you're like, there's no way that nobody else could be going through what I'm going through right now. But unfortunately, there are other people going through exactly what you went through. And you writing your book is going to help somebody be able to tell their story.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to, you know, get their story out as well. And that's why I think it's important for our community to write books and to put our stories down on paper because not everybody's going to go to a therapist. Right. You know, it was frowned upon in our community. And so when you tell your story, when you put that on paper and you published it, you were going to help somebody else. And even if it's only one person that you helped, that was one person that needed you at that particular time and moment, and your book was there to help them. Right. So I'm glad that you did it. I'm glad that you went back and you added those parts because there are people out there that need to hear your story, and your story is going to help them. This is important. Thank you for sharing. Oh, see? Look at that. You're helping people already just on this live. I love it. I love it. Now, for somebody that is out there right now that may be on this live now or come back later and watch it, somebody that may be on the fence, should I write a book? Nobody will read it. Should I tell my story? Nobody will believe it. What advice would you give them?
Well, for somebody who's worried about writing a book and whether somebody will read it or whether they'll help somebody, I would say write it anyway. Don't let those fears and anxieties about writing and actually helping somebody stop you from writing your book and telling your story. Because everybody has a story. We all have a story. Right. And something that you have gone through may help another person that you may not even know of. People just need to know that they're not alone. And so your story can help somebody else know that and feel that. And whatever you're writing about, you can help somebody else. We all can help somebody. We're all connected in some kind of way. So right. I would just encourage the writer who's, thinking about writing that book to just go ahead and write. Don't let your fears, don't let your worries, keep you from writing. Just do it. Just do it.
I love it. I love it. So when's the next book?
That's what everybody keeps asking.
Oh, yeah, girl, you can't do a one and done. Come on now. You got more stories in there to tell. Yeah. You got more in there to tell. I know you didn't put it all in the first book. So we got you on the clock. We're gonna be waiting for the next book.
Okay. I'm working on it.
I love it. Now have you went to pop-ups yet and set up and sold your book at a pop-up or anything like that yet?
Yeah, I've gone to book fairs. I've gone to
nice.
And just book signings. I've done those. Mm-hmm. So that's been helpful in getting the word out about my book and promoting it. So that's been really helpful for me to do that. Just speaking to people and sharing the message about my book personally, to the people that come out. And then letting them get the book if they want it. So I enjoy that. I enjoy those shows.
Oh, pop-ups are always the best. You never know who you're going to run into. Right. There's always so many people in there. Cece says, I am proud of you. Hand clap.
Thank you, sis.
That's your sister?
Yes, it is.
Oh, so with that being said, so I heard somebody call you auntie. Now your sister's in here. So how was your support system for when it came time to writing that book? How was your support system?
Well, I have a great support system. At first, writing the book, I didn't tell anybody I was writing a book, I just wanted to do it on my own, to go ahead and accomplish that because I didn't want to start it and then not finish it and then everybody ask me if I'm finished or not or if I had the book done. So I didn't tell anybody. But I did have a great support system. I had a cousin who went with me to my first counseling appointment, and I talk about that in the book. And, they've just been very supportive of me, just been there for me. And I talk about also how my family, they tried to get me help in a way that I didn't, think was necessary, but they were doing it out of love. Right. They were doing it out of love because they love me. And
yes, they do. Your big sis just said, big sis in here supporting. Love you, baby sis.
Yeah, I love them too.
Your family in the comments is what made me ask about your support system because I knew it was a pretty good one.
It is. They're all here, so I appreciate that.
Yes, they got to come on here and support. That's what a good support system does. Now, how important is mental health to you?
Mental health is very important to me. It wasn't before I'll say before I started dealing with issues, like I didn't really know much about mental health. You know, I had heard about it. You know, people dealing with depression, things like that, and I I even worked at a behavioral health clinic, but I wasn't like deep into the mental health about it. I was doing the number.
Right.
I was crunching numbers for the mental health department. So, mental health is very important because I know what it's like to deal with these issues. And I think it's important to share the message with other people to bring awareness to mental health so that people can seek treatment, especially in the Christian community, in the church, and in the Black community, because I think we suffer more and we do so silently because there's still a stigma surrounding it. You know, you're supposed to deal with your own issues, especially Black men. They're supposed to not cry. You know, they're supposed to be strong and not have these issues or talk about these issues that they have. But we need to bring awareness to it so people will know there's no shame or embarrassment associated with these things, that you can seek treatment, you can get the help you need, and you're not weak or less of a person or less spiritual because you deal with mental health issues. You know, it's not a reflection upon your character or your person or your relationship with God. And so I think it's very important to share the message of mental health awareness with everybody so that people can get the help that they need. You know, in 2020, there were almost twice as many suicides as homicides. Almost 50,000 people died from suicide. And I think if we can bring awareness to mental health, we can help save a life. If we can just save one life, then we've done our part. But I think people struggle alone, people struggle in silence. And, you know, that leads to, you know, self harm, that leads to isolation, and then sometimes suicide. And so we need to bring awareness to mental health so that people will know that they're not alone, and we can save lives because of it. So mental health absolutely is important to me. It's very important.
Yes, ma'am. So we have a question for you from Kids Culture Camp. Do you have a favorite chapter in your book? Your cousin said the first chapter is, Cece said the first chapter is my favorite. What is your favorite chapter in your book?
That's a good question. Do I have a favorite chapter in my book? They're all
you
my
got
favorite.
A minute to think about that.
They're all my favorite. But I like the chapter on suicide prevention because, again, I think it's very important that we do all we can to prevent suicide. And so in that chapter, I present a suicide safety plan for families to talk about with their family members, you know.
Oh, nice.
And I think if we talk about it more openly, then it won't become so shameful, such a stigmatized thing to talk about because we're talking about it. And so when you have those feelings, you're more likely to go to somebody and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about this, and I'm feeling this way," instead of dealing with those things on your own and possibly hurting yourself. So that's one of my favorite chapters because of that plan there, because it has helped me in so many ways, having that suicide safety plan, because I've been to the point where I wanted to take my own life.
Right.
And that plan has helped me, having a plan, knowing the warning signs, having a safe environment, making sure your environment is safe, getting rid of anything in the environment that is not safe to you, that might cause you harm, having contact lists of people who you might contact when you have those feelings and thoughts of self-harm, and also finding something productive to do when you're in that situation. So that suicide safety plan also lists professionals that you might contact when you're feeling that way. And so that plan has helped me in so many ways. And I think because of that, I think it can be helpful to others as well. If we talk about it, if everybody develops a suicide safety plan. So when you get depressed, when you get down, when you get discouraged, and you're feeling that way and having those thoughts, that you'll have something in place to safeguard you from doing those things to yourself. So that's my favorite chapter, the chapter on suicide.
Yeah, that's an awesome part of the book. I mean, it really is, because that is definitely going to help some people.
Yeah.
And I want you to sign up for Mental Health Monday so we can talk about that. Because maybe that will inspire some more people, that if they have a book and it speaks about suicide at all in the book, that they will put something similar in their book, also resources. So for whoever is reading it and maybe having suicidal thoughts, they flip the page. Here's some resources for you right now as you're reading. And that could make the difference between life or death for somebody.
Yeah.
So I am so glad that you put that in your book, because that is needed, girlfriend. There's no two ways about that.
Right.
That right there was very strategic on your part, and it's needed.
Yeah.
So thank you, because I mean, I thought before that your book would save lives, but now I know for certain your book is going to save lives, because that chapter alone, if nothing else, is going to stop somebody dead in their tracks, and they are going to get help. I know that without a shadow of a doubt, because you put it in there and you were there. You were that person.
Yeah.
So now when they're reading that, they know it's coming from a person that is where they are right now as they're reading. So kudos to you. Kudos to you for that. I have never heard of anybody doing that in their book. So, man, that's awesome. That's money in the bank right there, girl. I love that. Okay, so we have, this is my girl I did yoga with the other day, Gloria. Clear Space says, your testimony is so important. That care plan is everything. Yes, yes. And there's kudos going up in the comments. Everybody is loving that part.
Right.
And yeah, man, I've interviewed a lot of authors that have told their stories and things like that. And you are the first that's ever, said that there's a care plan in there, for somebody that might be suicidal, thinking that they don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And if you are anybody watching, I'm going to throw this out there. Anybody watching, if you have ever had suicidal thoughts, or you need to be talked off the ledge, my DM is always open, always, always open. No judgment here. I've talked to a lot of total strangers that I don't even know. And it's amazing how a total stranger will reach out to somebody for help. I talked to a young man, he had a gun. One of my dear friends went on my pro-Black page before I even started Black Connections, but he had a gun and he wanted to kill himself because he was going through a custody battle with the baby mama. And I talked to him all the way till he got 5 blocks to the church, because that's the first thing I said to him. I'm not really religious. I grew up in a Southern Baptist church. I'm more spiritual now than religious, but I asked him, do you have a church close by? Because I knew the pastor would be in there. Somebody would be in that church. Talked him all the way to the front door. And I heard he put me on speakerphone, and I asked him, I said, please hand the pastor the gun. The pastor didn't know he had a gun because it was in his pocket at that point. I got him to put it down, and he's still here today.
Wow.
And that happened in 2016. And I'm watching his kids grow, and I'm watching him grow. And, and every now and then he'll jump in my DM and he's like, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome. And we just, we don't dwell on it or nothing like that. He'll do a thank you, and I'll do a you're welcome. And he sends me pictures of the kids. And so your book, that's what your book is doing.
Yeah.
That's what your book is doing. Your book is going to save lives because of that care plan. that you have in there. And I know even after writing the book, even after you're doing better now, you look better, you're feeling better, all of that. We'll always have good days and bad days. That's always going to happen. It's just we're human.
Right.
So anytime you might be having a bad day or, thinking that, hey, I just don't feel like doing life today.
Right.
I'm depressed. I don't feel like it, whatever. I want you to go to your book, to that suicide page, and look at that care plan that you made for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because that young lady is saving lives. That's how you give back to a community. Right there, doing that in your book. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps just thinking about your care plan, because that's so selfless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's selfless. And we need to find a way to get that book to groups that may support groups.
Yeah.
We need to figure out a way to get that book into libraries on psychiatric wards.
Right.
Because that one chapter alone is going to change their life. So we got to do some homework, because that needs to be in support groups for people that have had suicidal thoughts.
Yes.
I know there are some nonprofits out there that work with that particular subject. And your book is a book that they need to have, so they can give that to people that are coming to their group for help. That book is much needed.
Yes.
In any realm of somebody that may have already tried it, and thank goodness they failed, or somebody who may be thinking about ending their life today. That book needs to be around in those realms. So I have a lot of doctors that follow me.
Okay.
So I'm going to slide in some of their DMs and see if they may know a way to get that book into these group therapy areas, or even psychiatrists themselves.
Yeah.
Get that book in their office. Because I know when I was younger, I was going to therapy, and the doctor had a library.
Mm-hmm.
She had a library in her office, and you could literally check out books.
Wow.
You could check out the books, and all the books were authors that had wrote about, because she was a child therapist. So they were all books of authors that had been through kind of what all of us kids were going through. She has since passed away. She died of cancer, but I am going to I'm going to reach out to some therapists and see how we can get that book in some areas, because that's needed. Your book is needed. Yes, ma'am. I got homework to do. Okay, let me see. Yes, so helpful talking about your book. Any advice for people who may be angry with God? Ooh, child, good. Oh man, I just got goosebumps reading this. Oh man, reading this one right here, because I know this all too well. Any advice for people who may be angry with God because of mental health challenges they might be experiencing?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
I know
that just hit real close to home for me.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times people can get angry with God because of not just mental health challenges, but any challenges that they experience in life. And just because obstacles come doesn't mean that it comes from God. Sometimes God allows things to happen, but He doesn't make them happen. He is there for us in order to help us through those storms, those challenges, those obstacles. But He doesn't make them happen to us. He's not going to cause you to have anything hurtful happen to you. He doesn't want that to happen to us. He doesn't want anything bad to happen to us. You know, people ask, why do bad things happen to good people?
Mm-hmm.
Bad things happen to good people all the time. And the Bible tells us many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. So if you are a good person, you're going to have a lot of trials. Even Jesus told us, you know, in this world, you're going to have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. So we're going to have trials, we're going to have tribulations, we're going to have struggles, whether they be mental health or physical. Um, so for the person who's angry at God, I would tell them, you know, to talk to God, talk about that anger to God. You know, David got angry. David got sad. That I mean, we have psalms with people expressing emotions to God. So you can express that emotion, that anger to God. He's there to accept you and to hear you. So he's not gonna push you away just because you're angry. He wants you to work through that and deal with it. So talk to God, pray to Him, work through that anger. You know, let Him know how you're feeling. Write about it. You know,
Journal it.
Yeah, journal it. Talk to someone else about it. But deal with those feelings and know that it's not God who's causing you to be mentally ill. It's not God who's causing you to have struggles. It's Him who's going to help you through them. Um, so, yeah, that's what I would tell somebody who's angry at God. You know, you can be angry, you can be happy, just like you can be sad, just like you can be happy towards God. You can have all those emotions. He knows we're human, and He's gonna help us through those feelings. We just have to know that He's there for us to help us no matter what we're going through.
Absolutely. A lot of people preach, okay. I 100% agree, sis. You're teaching the truth. He wants you to reach out to him. Sometimes he will put you through he will put you through to show you he is there and to learn to lean on him. God is love. He loves us all so much. He is our strength. That was powerful. It is a process, but learning to give yourself grace is key. Those comments are lighting up, baby. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Me too.
You guys, I love y'all in the comments. I've put that in the comments a couple of times during this live. I love when people interact in the comments with the person that's on the live because it's important. Because you're supporting the person that's on the live, and the person on the live is also supporting you. So it's a win-win situation here. So I love when people talk back in the comments. So before I end my lives, I always have a particular question that I ask. And I love asking this question, and I love putting people on the spot with the question because you get a raw answer. You know what I mean? They don't have time to think about it. I mean, you get a few seconds to think about it, but you know what I mean. Yeah. If I would have gave you the question ahead of time, you would have prepared for it. Yeah. And that's why that's why nobody gets my question.
Right.
Because this is not CNN. CNN is scripted. CBS is scripted. All that stuff is pretty much scripted. But this is raw and 100% transparent. And that's why I love these lives. And this is why I do these lives, because the things that the people heard from you today, if they just read the back of your book, they wouldn't have known any of this. Right? They wouldn't have known any of it. No. But see, the thing about it is, when I put you guys on the lives and we deep dive into you and your book and all this kind of stuff, now people know who you are. Now they've connected with the author before they've even read the book. Now they know, you know what? I got to go get that book. So this is a marketing strategy, and it works really good. Because now they're going to get they're going to get the book. They have no choice because you've put a little bit out there. Now they got to go read it. So everybody's going to get that book. Y'all all better go get that book. And you, oh, wait a minute. Before I ask my question, hold on. We got to, Something is going on with the lighting, y'all. Bear with me. I'm struggling to read the comments, so bear with me. It's the lighting. Everyone has a job moment, but how you respond to what you're going through makes prayer make the difference. Oh, I like that. I like that. Do you have a website? Yes, she does. And I'm going to drop it in the comments for you right now while she is answering this last question.
Okay.
If you had the opportunity to talk to your younger self today, what would you tell her? After everything you've been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, from birth to now, what would you tell her?
That's a great question. I would tell my younger self.
I know.
If I had the chance to talk to my younger self, I would tell her that just because you may be dealing with a mental health issue does not mean that you are a weak person. Um, it's okay to take medicine. It doesn't mean it's an easy fix or that you're less of a person because you have to take medicine for a mental health issue. And I'd also tell myself that you are a queen. Walk with your head high and don't drop your crown.
There you go. See, that right there, that's money in the bank. I love it. I love it. And I love your support system. I love your support system. I really do, because that makes all the difference when you have a good support system. It really does. And I just love and adore your story. I'm going to get my book.
Thank you.
And I just love that. And I'm going to do some investigating because I'm serious. That book needs to be in psychiatric hospitals, you know, because when people are in psychiatric hospitals, they got a lot of time. You know, yes, they go to their group therapies and things like that, but they still have downtime. And that book could change their life.
Right.
Now, let me take that back. Let me backtrack. It can't change their life. It will change their life. It's not a can't, it's a will. Your book is a #1 bestseller.
Thank you.
And that's it. It doesn't matter what Barnes and Noble says, Books A Million says. Black Connections and your support system said that book is a #1 seller. Right. So it is. And all those, I don't know if you can see all those heart emojis, but those heart emojis are going. Now, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about your book, like, you know, nothing too much, because we want them to spend their shmoneys and buy that book. So whatever your outsert of your book is on the back, tell them a little bit about that and where they can buy your book. And see, I'm still typing the www. Y'all bear with me because, you know, she started talking and I wanted to listen. I didn't want to be typing. So I had to stop so I could focus. Crystal said, that's it. Drop mic. I know that's right. And Miss Lit said, #1 seller in Jesus' name. I know that's right. Y'all testify up in here today. That book is a #1 seller. Now you tell everybody about your book. Tell them where they can find it. You're on Shark Tank, right? Okay, so you're on Shark Tank and they're about to give you $50,000. You got 2 minutes to sell them. What you gonna tell them? Now I'm gonna do the website, y'all.
Okay. My book is about mental health issues and how Christians can cope with things like anxiety, depression, paranoia, and even suicide. It delves into the scriptures to give people hope for a brighter day. And it also talks about my own struggles with mental health issues and how people can overcome their own struggles. It helps people develop a suicide safety plan and have dialogues with their family and friends about things like suicide, depression, anxiety, paranoia, schizophrenia, all those types of mental health issues. And It works to give people hope and to remove the stigma from mental health and bring awareness to mental health.
I love it. And you get $50,000 from Shark Tank.
Thank you.
Now, how are you doing? Before we leave real quick, because I can't leave without asking, how are you doing with your mental health now? Now that you've wrote the book, it's published, it's out there, you are a #1 selling author. How is your mental health now?
My mental health is great. It's managed with therapy and medication and other tools and techniques that I've learned in therapy to help me deal with my anxiety and my other issues. So I'm able to live functionally, to function and live a healthy and productive life because of my management of my mental health issues. So
I love it.
Thank you.
That is awesome. So I want you to hit the website and pick a Monday that works for you. And I want you to come on a Mental Health Monday, because although I know, we did this because you're an author, but your book also ties into Mental Health Monday. That suicide part, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps, but it's needed for Mental Health Monday. People need to read the book. People that love reading, and even if you don't love reading, if you know somebody that is struggling with mental health, buy this book, please. I can't say this enough. That suicide prevention insert is going to save somebody's life. Because one thing about Black people, one thing about us, we're good at lying about how we are truly feeling.
Yes.
All right. We are good at masking that pain. We are so good at it. We can go to work every day, smile in everybody's face, and be dying on the inside. When we get home, just depressed as all get out. We have learned to mask it because our ancestors had to mask everything back in the day. We've learned how to mask it in the Black community. Let's change that. Let's not mask it anymore.
Yes.
So if you know somebody that you feel something's not right with them, you feel something's off, but you can't put your finger in it, give them the book. That's all you got to do. You ain't even got to say nothing else to them. Gift them the book. And they say, well, what is this for? Just because. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to say nothing else. Let the book do the work, because that's what's going to happen. The book will do the work, because when they listen to her testimony in the book, when they get to the suicidal part, that's going to change their life. So buy the book. If you know a teenager that is struggling with mental health, please do not wait. Do not hesitate. Get them the book. Seriously. Because it's a lot of times we won't tell you that something is wrong with us. You'll never know until you send somebody to the house to do a wellness check. Mm-hmm. And then it's too late.
Yeah.
So one thing about the Black community, and I shouldn't have said lie. We are good at masking. Mm-hmm. We are good at you not knowing that there's anything wrong with us. We're very good at it. I do it every day. I get on these lives. 5 minutes leading up to this live, I'm in the bathroom sick as a dog.
Man.
We are good at masking, you guys. We're real good at it, So please, even if you don't know anybody right now that might have an issue, buy the book anyway and have that bad boy on standby. So when you see that one of your friends is having an issue, or maybe you've had a friend and she's gone a couple of weeks, she talks to you every day, but you haven't heard from her in a couple of weeks, mail her that book and put a letter with it, just because I love you, mm-hmm. just because I miss you, just because I want to brighten your day. Trust and believe her book is going to save lives. So please, I can't encourage you guys enough to buy this book specifically for that chapter. That is why I will continue from this day moving forward to push that book, because that book is needed in people's lives with as crazy as the world is right now.
Yes.
Hear me when I tell you, people, the Black community is not okay. We're not okay. It is what it is. We are out here living in fear every day, every time we walk out of our house. So please, some people are living in fear in their homes because of mental health. You, prime example, you know, and you were in your car because of being worried in your house. Buy the book. Buy the book. You get on the website, find out a Mental Health Monday that you are free, plug that date in, and let's continue this, continue this conversation into a Mental Health Monday. But yes, your book, girl, that book is going to save lives. Hear me when I tell you. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for taking that step to get a handle on your mental health. I'm glad that you are still with us. I'm glad that you and I have sat down and done this live, and you are 100% transparent. And I thank you for writing your book that is going to save lives.
Thank you.
And I'm going to do some homework because of that particular chapter. That's why I know there's certain places that book needs to be. And I am going to find out how we get them there.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do. And I know now, what state are you in?
I'm in Alabama.
Okay. My ex-husband is was raised in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
So I've been to Huntsville. I don't know how we drove from Virginia to Huntsville. So I don't know how many other states we might have. I mean, cities in Alabama we went through, but I've been there once, and I can tell you, it was some racism going on back in '93, because we were literally pulled over for that reason.
Wow.
So Miss Light says, thank you for sharing and your support for my baby sis. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing I can do but support your baby sis, because what she's doing is amazing. Her book is amazing, and I can't help but support it. I love it. I think it's amazing. And I want to try to help you get that book in some areas where our community is. I know where it is already, right? I know where it's at, but I want to get it in our community. You know what I mean? So just here in Virginia alone, I know of like at least 10 Black-owned bookstores.
Okay.
I'm going to send you their information.
Thank you.
And I'm going to, when I go to do my wind down, I got to scroll through my page to try to find it. Hey, Fat Boy Fresh, who is not Fat Boy anymore. I love it. He is on a new journey, man. Got a new kidney, and he's lost a bunch of weight. Man, I'm so proud of this young man. Y'all just don't know. I'm so proud of him. But I want to try to, I'm going to have to do a deep dive on my social media, because I put up a post a long time ago. Oh my gosh. And at least 200 Black-owned bookstores were tagged under it. I want your book in Black-owned bookstores, because it's needed.
Yeah.
So, I know in DC, I know Mahogany Bookstore. They've got 2. Sankofa Bookstore right across from Howard University, HBCU, right across from Howard University. I went there to both of those bookstores personally, and visited them, and I fell in love with them. So I'm going to send you their information. And I know with them, it was just a matter of, you go to their website, you fill out this like form, and you mail them your book. And what they do is they read it, and then if it's something that they want to put in their bookstore, then they put it in the bookstore. So that's what you and I are getting ready to work on that list. We're getting ready to, I'm just going to start DMing you, and I'm going to just, your DM is going to start dinging. I'll do my end where I get all of the bookstores together, Black owned bookstores. I know we've got one in Norfolk. I know DC's got 3. We got one or two here in Richmond. I'm going to start sending you all of their sites.
Okay.
That way you can go on the website and figure out what you have to do to get it in the bookstore. And I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of you fill out the application type of thing and you mail them your book. Now, let me ask you this, because you said your book is on Amazon.
Yes.
So are you able to go on Amazon and print the author copies? Or do you have to go through the publisher for that?
I go through the publisher to send author copies.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I know Amazon, for my magazine, I can go on Amazon myself, and because I self-published these magazines.
Right.
So I can go on Amazon and I can print them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get a mass amount of them sent to my house. And that's what I did with my magazine when I first printed it. I had 25 copies sent to me. And because my first magazine was about 30 returning citizens, 30 convicted felons that have came home, and they're business owners and they're authors and they have nonprofits. So I geared my first magazine around them.
Okay.
Another thing I want you to do is get a copy, and I want you to send a copy of your book to the Library of Congress in DC.
Okay.
It's needed. Now, I will say this, with the Library of Congress, they're fickle. They're fickle. They let one book in, they don't let another book in. My pro-Black magazine with the 30 returning citizens was accepted into the Library of Congress. Now,
Ooh.
I honestly, when I sent it, I honestly didn't think they were going to accept it. My hopes were not high at all. Mm-hmm. I sent it and I forgot about it. That's how unpressed I was about it, because I really didn't think it was going to get in.
Yeah.
And then I get an email congratulating me, and I about died, So I definitely want you to get it sent in there as well.
Okay.
It's a massive library, in DC. But I'm going to scroll through, and I'm going to have some other people help me scroll through my site so I can try to find that bookstore thing. I think it was 2 years ago I put that up. But it had so many. Thank you for the congratulations, big sis. Thank you. That's your sis. I'm going to try to find that, because I could not believe the Black-owned bookstores. I cried as people were tagging these bookstores because it was so many of them. So I'm going to start DMing you. I'm going to start sending you everybody's links that I find, and then just go on the website and find out how to get this book in there. And I'm also going to reach out to a couple of psychiatrists that I know and several doctors that follow me and see if they know how we could get your book into the psychiatric hospitals, the mental health hospitals. I hate the word psychiatric, mental health hospitals. And also maybe even the privately owned mental health hospitals.
Right.
I was in one as a child. My mom had locked me away. And yeah, because long story short was she was raising me white and didn't want me to know anything about the Black and Indian side of me. Mm-hmm. And when I found out about that side of me, she locked me away, because all my friends were always Black growing up. Always. I knew something wasn't right. I could feel it. And so, of course, my first boyfriend, was Black. That's all I've ever dated. It's what I have gravitated to my whole life. And only for me to find out, I'm Black. woman. Are you kidding me right now? So yeah, so I spent 6 weeks in there because of that. But we had a library in there. Mm-hmm. So and I know they scan the books. Of course, they're not just going to put any books in there, but your book is needed and it needs to get in there. So I got homework to do. Great. And I'm going to blow your DM up. I mean, blow your DM up. Yolanda Simmons, too. So proud of you, my baby. Aww. I love the support. I love the support. You got your sisters in here. Your aunts are in here. The nieces and nephews. I just love it. And this is what it's all about. Yeah. And girl, I want you to pat yourself on your back. Seriously. Mm-hmm. And I want you, anytime you're having a bad day, please just pick up your book. Don't even read it. Just pick it up and look at it. And then I want you to put the book down. I want you to look in the mirror and be like, I did that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because that's you straightening up your own crown. Right. So your support system is there and they straighten it for you too. But they might not always know when you're on an off day, because with mental health, it's always there. Right. We just learn how to cope with it. Exactly. So anytime, you wake up and, maybe you're just not feeling yourself today. Yeah. I want you to pick up a copy of your book and I want you to go in front of a mirror and take that book with you, look down at it. Then I want you to look at that mirror and I want you to straighten up your crown and say, I did that. Because you did. Right. You did that. And that book is changing lives, young lady, starting with you. It changed your life. And it is changing other lives. Hey, sis, Blessings Clothing, that's my sis. So thank you for coming on here today with me and to your family. Thank you for the support that you are showing your family member here, because when I tell you the glow that she has right now and she's had the whole time she's been on this live is because of you guys. She would not have this glow right here if it wasn't for her support system. So all of you guys, love you too, sis. I'm going to text you shortly. You guys helped her get where she is today because you supported her. And I love you guys for that. And I respect you for that, because everybody needs a support system. And we want it to be our blood relatives. We really want it to be our blood relatives, but we know sometimes it can't be. But the fact that it is your blood relatives that are your support system, we're getting off the live because I'm going to start crying. But I love that for you. I really do. Thank you. That is something that I always wanted my whole life. Never got it. Mm-hmm. So I had 4 children. That's my support system. Right. You know what I mean? Awesome. But blood relatives, forget it. It ain't there. Other than my grandfather, but he's no longer with me. And my grandma Rena also no longer with me. Yeah. But my kids are here. That's my support, and they're always there. So kudos to your family and all of you. Please give each other a hug and thank each other, because y'all are doing an amazing job. And your book, Miss #1 bestseller, we're about to get that book in some places that it hasn't been yet. So, and also public libraries. Yes. I have a very dear friend of mine that is a library manager out in Las Vegas. I am going to reach out to him and find out what you have to go through, what hoops you're going to have to jump through to get that book in a public library. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but we need to find out how to get that book in a public school library. Yeah. So what age bracket would you think reading level that book would be on, middle school or high school?
It's probably middle school, the high school.
Okay, so middle school and high school. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna I know a couple of teachers. I'm going to reach out to them as well so we can see what kind of hoops, because it's going to be hoops.
Yeah.
The black owned libraries, not so much. Anybody else, we got to jump through some hoops.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm willing to put in the work to get this book where it needs to be. Black Connections is all about connecting.
Yes.
I want to connect you with everybody that I possibly can because of that. What chapter is that in the book? Do you know? Oh, that's right. You got the book right there.
Yeah, I got it right here. It is chapter 6.
Chapter 6.
Yes.
Okay. So see, everybody needs to read chapter 6. So those of you that are on this live, if you do not have the book, make sure you get the book.
Yes.
And if you're not an avid reader, which I am not, but get the book anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know somebody that is dealing with mental health, gift them the book. If you know a teenager that is anybody from 6th grade up, if anybody from 6th grade up is dealing with mental health, gift them this book. And girl, I got some homework to do, child. So just be prepared for your DM to start blowing up.
Okay, I appreciate
because
it.
I'm going to, yes, ma'am. I want to see this book in all of our Black-owned bookstores. It's needed. It's needed. And I'm just proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so honored that I got to do a live with you. And I'm honored in advance for the Mental Health Monday that we're going to do, because girl, that's needed too. That's needed. I'm super, super proud of you.
Thank you so much.
You just have a beautiful spirit, a beautiful soul. And thank you for writing your book, not only for you, but to give back to our community and help others.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. I'm just so proud of you. And keep up the awesome work that you're doing. And I will, once I get out of these doggone clothes and back into my PJs, because I literally took a shower 30 minutes before this live to try to get myself together, So I'm going to get back in my PJs, get in my bed, sit on my heating pad for my back, and I'm just going to start blowing up your DM.
Okay. I look forward to them. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming on the live today, and go to the website and just sign up for whatever Mental Health Monday works for you.
Okay.
I'm just so proud of you, and I can't wait for our next live to talk, all about you and your story that prompted you, to write the book, and about that 6th chapter, because girl, that's amazing. Yeah. And I'm so proud of you. I'm just so proud of you. So now I'm going to go get off the live and cry, because I'm so proud of myself. I've held back these tears on this live because there was a couple of times that I was about to go there, but I'm trying to not cry on every daggone live. But these are happy tears. These will be happy tears because I'm proud of you that you thought about our community when you were writing your book.
Yeah.
That chapter 6, that was, to help other people. Yes, it was for you, but you knew what you were doing strategically by putting that in there, and that was to save people's lives.
Yes.
So I can't help but promote you and help you get that book everywhere we possibly can. So kudos to you. I love you to the moon and back. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on here today.
Thank you so much. You take care.
Yes, ma'am. You do the same, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.